Prozac and it works like magic. When I tell people we had servants back home, they think we must be very rich. They don't realize every middle-class family has someone to clean for them. Even the servants have servants. You can always find someone more poor than you.
I think the biggest thing is to kind of, the whole play breaks down stereotypes and talks about a lot of stereotypes, and I wanted to do that with the play, right? I wanted to break down stereotypes of Muslim women, and I think lingerie or sex, it's just a very taboo kind of a thing, and people don't really talk about it within the culture, so I wanted to bring that to the forefront, and, you know, and say that it's okay to talk about this, because you know, it is something that's sort of, I mean, and then the other part is, you know, it is like, it's a pun, so it's supposed to be funny. It is a comedy show, so it is, you know, that, like, you know, instead of Dirty Paki Laundry, it's Dirty Paki Lingerie. It's about, you know, these women and sort of their very intimate, you know, details of their lives.
Identity. For sure.
Sure, yeah.
And struggles that I think that all women, I mean, it's very, the play, something we had started to talk about before, that it's very specific
right.
To a particular cultural, ethnic, religious group. And yet, it is also universal.
Yeah.
And I think that theater has to be universal, theater kind of also has to be specific, and it's through the truth that you find in specificity that you can reach the universal. And the fact that that's true is testament to the fact that we are actually all connected.
Well, it's really interesting.
Which is really important.
I had a Jewish guy, after this last show, come up to me and tell me how much he could relate to my show, which is about these 6 Pakistani Muslim women. I mean, I just find that really amusing. I've had so many people.
We had the Japanese couple.
The Japanese couple who said it was so.
Oh, it's so much like their thing, and there was one other one.
There was a African-American woman who grew up in the Bronx who came up to me after the show, and she was like, "Oh, that mother character who's trying to set up her daughter on a marriage. She reminds me so much of my mom. This is what my mom's always trying to do." You know, and she's just African-American from the Bronx. So, so I think that's what really is interesting, has been interesting for me in kind of doing this show, is how much people are able to relate to it. That is because stories about, you know, these women, and they all happen to be Pakistani, because that's my parents' background culturally, even though I lived in Saudi Arabia as a child for a while and then Mississippi for a while, so I've lived in many different places, but I just thought these women had amazing stories, and you know, just this whole post 9/11 thing, coming from this cultural background, and with everything that's going on in the media for, you know, with Pakistan, more so in the last few years, I just really felt like it was important to kind of unveil these stories, and for these women to have a voice, you know, that I really felt like was lacking in the arts. Like, nobody else is giving this particular, people from this cultural background, a voice.
The first character we see her do is very sort of abstract, and dance-like, which we'll talk about, and then the next character is not wearing the hijab, and then we do this transition, which is very much like a kind of dance sequence. And what I find really powerful for me watching it, and I guess what was influencing me in creating it, was that we have the call to prayer, and we are watching something exquisitely beautiful happen physically with this veil, and we're not sure what it's going to mean, and every time her body rotates and the fabric changes, it means something else, and she rotates and she rotates and she rotates, and when she comes around full circle, she's in the full garb. And I think for an American, and you can't not see that in the context of the show, as truly beautiful.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.